I may have been able to beat Pokemon Fire Red with one Abra, and I even took it up a notch and beat Pokemon Emerald with one Pichu. But what if I told you this is what it's like?
Go even further beyond!
This isn't even my final form. What about a challenge so time-consuming and difficult, I'm leaving every single battle in the hands of RNG. RNGs, take the wheel! I'm talking about Delibird, and at first glance, his stats don't seem so bad. What is so difficult about Delibird? Well, Delibird can only learn one move through leveling up, and that's Present, a move that's based solely on RNG. A move that can only do one of 4 effects, including healing the opponent Pokemon? Oh, whoa, what? Not to mention it being entirely broken in Pokemon Gold and Silver due to programming errors, resulting in it barely damaging certain Pokemon typings, regardless of Delibird's level and stats. Wait a second there, Jimmy. Can't you just use TMs? Oh, no. This Penguin Santa is gonna only use one move and one move only, and that's Present. Also, by now, I'm sure you have noticed it is Pokemon Gold, a game notorious for being one of the longest Pokemon games with 16 badges to collect and even a final boss. It ain't gonna be easy, but let's lay out the rules. With the Pokemon Starter program, I will start Pokemon Gold with Delibird as my starter. I will only be able to use Delibird in battle, and no other pocket monsters. Other Pokemon will be used outside of battles for HMs only. No items will be used in battle. Held items only if needed. No TMs can be used at any time. Now that that's out of the way, if you guys think this entire challenge is possible before watching, I know you watched it to the end, Jimmy. Make sure to drop a comment down below, and as always, let's just jump right into this. A gift to the present struggle. It feels good to see this intro screen from my all-time favorite Pokemon game, Pokemon Gold. Knowing even if this becomes one of the most difficult challenges so far, at least I'll be playing a Pokemon game I truly love. Just like all the other Pokemon games in this series, we are first greeted by the Professor Oak! And as always, it's time to name this hero for the adventure. Due to there being no numbers in this keyboard, we're just gonna go with the classic name R9 for our hero. With no one else to name, the game truly begins. We head downstairs and Mom tells us the professor himself is waiting for us at his lab. Who the f is that guy? I watched the entire intro and I told Professor Oak my name, not you, my man. I refuse to believe that you are the professor. Hashtag not my professor. After he does what he's programmed to do, providing massive amounts of text bubbles, he tells us that we can run an errand for him by borrowing one of his Pokemon. We have Fire Echidna, Water Crocodile, Grass Pear Dinosaur, Abomination? No, seriously, what the heck is Chikorita supposed to be? I caught a lot of flack last time when I called Mudkip an Abomination, and I actually like Mudkip, but Chikorita just makes no sense. Much better. So I make sure to replace Chikorita with Delibird. That way, my rival will still start with a fire type, being super effective against Delibird's ice type. Also because Chikorita is an abomination, hashtag not my starter. So we choose our female Delibird, whom I name the most noblest of noble names, Comet. Psych! She's named Shady, after one of my favorite Pokemon content creators named Shady Penguin.
It's a crit!
And together, we set off to find Mr. Pokemon.
I am Pokemon!
And on the way, let me tell you, I'm really starting to see Shady's power. That's a negative amount of damage. Shady here is like Oprah. You'll get 1/4 of your health back. You'll get 1/4 of your health back. Everybody gets 1/4 of your health back. We eventually make it to Mr. Pokemon's house, and oh my god, is that you? The true Professor Oak?
You were close. You were close.
Mr. Pokemon gives us an egg, and we head back towards the lab, until we run into this redhead rebel who stole a Pokemon from the fake professor.
It's time to do.
So he sends out Cyndaquil, which has the type advantage on Delibird, but we still pull through with the victory royale and ends up dropping his ID. Hey man, it's fine. I know you just stole a Pokemon and committed a major felony at the age of 10 years old, but hey, here's your ID back. Anyways, we head back to the lab and tell the professor and the cops that we found him, and his name is...
My name is Jeff.
Patrick. After snitching on our boy Patrick, the cops and professor just say, wow, That's crazy. You can keep that Delibird, by the way. And now, the adventure truly begins. Normally I'd go tell my mom that I'm leaving, but nah. So we take off, just me and my 3-foot penguin that looks like Santa Claus. After battling our way through high percentage Rattata trainers and bug catchers, we finally make it to Violet Town, who has a giant tower named after a Bellsprout. Yeah, but they also have the flying type gym leader, Falconer. I take on a few of the trainers in the gym when I start to realize flying type resists present really well. They are definitely going to pose a threat in the later game. I end up making through all the trainers in the gym after a few bad RNG runs, but nothing too crazy. But I decide to take on Bellsprout Tower beforehand of battling Falconer. The tower right now isn't exactly necessary or ever really necessary, but grinding up levels really is. All the trainers here have Bellsprouts and present seems to do decent damage on them, so I didn't really have a threat. The last guy, however, did have a Hoot Hoot, but we were able to take him out in 1 or 2 tries, granting us HM Flash. Afterwards, I take on Falconer, who surprisingly wasn't that bad. And I mean, I didn't exactly win first try or get the best RNG, but regardless, it wasn't nearly as hard as our previous runs with the first gym leaders. With 1 badge out of the way, we head towards our second gym battle in Azalea Town. Every battle on the way wasn't too bad until I battled my first hiker, and oh my god, rock and ground type Pokemon resist present even more than flying, making it extremely difficult to take out. I use up all my power points for present before going into a battle with a hiker from now on, so that I can just use struggle to take their Pokemon out a lot easier. Making our way through the cave to Azalea Town. In Azalea Town, we are greeted by Travis Barker, who happens to have a Slowpoke that was taken by Team Rocket. He then runs off to the well and falls down the stairs and leads us to Team Rocket, where they're raiding Slowpokes for that Slowpoke tail drop, which by the way must be pretty rare because on my way here, some guy tried to sell me one for $1 million. I don't think I should tell Travis Barker that I bought one. But as always, we clean up the big grown-ups mess as a 10-year-old kid and take down the criminal organization, saving the Slowpokes. Now we can take on Azalea Town's bug-type gym. The gym battle isn't too difficult until we make it to his Scyther, which knows Fury Cutter. The more times he lands Fury Cutter, the higher the damage gets. So if we get some really bad presents, it made for some hard runs. But eventually, after a close call, I take out the Scyther and get our second gym badge. After collecting our gym badge and heading towards Goldenrod City, we run into Patrick, and it's time to He throws out his first Pokemon and he has added a Ghastly to his team, which poses a threat because it is a ghost type Pokemon, meaning that Present won't affect it. So now we have to go waste all of our PP on Present before actually battling Patrick and seeing if we can take out his team, which surprisingly we do take out his entire team with struggle alone. After the battle is all wrapped up, we head off into the Ilex Forest on our way to Goldenrod City and we find a Farfetch who we spook back to its trainer. His boss gives us HM Cut, which helps us get through the Ilex Forest to Goldenrod City. In Goldenrod City though, the normal type gym leader, Whitney. And I know what you're thinking, Whitney and her Miltank are gonna be a stressful battle. And I don't think so. Okay, you're right. It was definitely stressful. Rollout was super effective on Delibird, and if I don't get good RNG with Present, it's just gonna get stronger. In fact, in my first couple battles with Whitney, her Clefairy was even able to take out my Delibird. But again, after wasting all my presents and gaining some levels, struggle was enough to take out both the Clefairy and the Miltank. 3 gym badges down now, 13 more to go. Now that we beat Whitney, we can go take on Sudowoodo with the Squirt Bottle. And Sudowoodo hits like a truck. He drops rocks on us, flails us. Delibird stands no chance against this man. But fortunately enough, this battle is optional, so we can just hit run and continue back on our adventure to Ecruteak City. We make it into Ecruteak City, home of the Ghost Gym Leader Morty. And based off Present not hitting Ghost, we'll have to waste all of our PP and use Struggle. Struggle does happen to take out all of the trainers, Haunters, and Ghastlies in just 1 to 2 hits due to their very low defense. After healing and wasting all my PP yet again, I take on Morty and have a really close battle before taking the W. Now that we have 4 gym badges in the bag, we can use the HM Surf, which we get from beating all the dancing kimono girls and their evolutions. Now we can head off towards Olivine City, where Patrick tells us the gym leader is at the lighthouse taking care of a Pokemon. After scaling the lighthouse and giving all the trainers presents that explode and faint their Pokemon, we make it to the top and meet Jasmine, the Steel type gym leader who asked us to use Surf to get her sick Ampharos a special potion. So we head off towards Scionwood City using our Surf slave Mr. Krabs. Once we make it there, we recover the potion and take on the fighting gym. One of the trainers in the gym has a Machoke with Rock Slide that destroys Shady even at full HP. Even with a run where Rock Slide misses the first few turns, I still had no chance to rely on Presence, even barely doing damage, and I had to waste all of my PP and try again. And still, we struggled to take him out, and that was no joke the longest attempt battle so far. I eventually got enough misses and took out the Machoke and can actually take on the gym leader, Chuck Norris. It's pretty clear early on that I am nowhere near high enough level to take on Chuck Norris, and Present is definitely not a viable option in this battle. I used the fishing rod to train Shady off the Magikarps and Krabbies off the coast of Scionwood City due to the water types taking a lot of damage from Present and have decent experience. After hitting the hyperbolic time chamber, I came back stronger and better than ever, ready to take on Chuck Norris yet again, and after a gruesome battle, we come through victorious, collecting our 5th gym badge. Now we head on back and heal the Ampharos and take on the Steel-type gym leader, Jasmine, who starts off with 2 Magnemites, which barely take any damage from Present, and on top of that, they love to paralyze us and hit us with super effective Thunderbolts. After many attempts, it's pretty obvious yet again, I'm gonna have to go with the Struggle route. Back with Struggle, and after a few Thunder Waves and a few Thunderbolts, I'm finally on her last Pokemon, Steelix. And not only is this a Steel Pokemon, it's also a Ground type and has the move Rock Slide. Again, this gym battle will have to wait. In no scenario can I come even close to beating Steelix right now. I head towards the Lake of Rage, famous for its shiny Gyarados, and if you watched the Abra challenge, you know that no shinies get left behind, my man. And even if this is guaranteed with no odds, I had to capture shiny Gyarados. Besides, I can use it as an HM slave because Mr. Krabs cannot learn Waterfall. After returning to land, we are greeted by Lance, the Dragon-type trainer and Pokemon champion, who informs us Team Rocket are behind everything that's going on in the Lake of Rage, and we need to head back to Mahogany Town, and Lance is taking the Team Rocket in their secret base. And what? Lance straight up hyper beams people outside a battle. You could have killed that man, never mind fainting him. So obviously we gotta help him because we're a 10-year-old kid and we gotta solve all them crimes for the adults. We take out a lot of Team Rocket members and find out that their plans are already in motion to use the radio station to disrupt Pokemon and get the attention of Giovanni. Maybe now we can take out Jasmine. Wait, even better, why don't we take on the 7th gym leader who has an Ice-type gym and take out his team? We take out all of the trainers easily with Present being a very effective move on water and ice types. But when we make it to the gym leader, his first 2 Pokemon go down easily with Present, but his last Pokemon is Piloswine, who has the ground typing, so it will resist Present very strongly. So I went into the battle with a special plan. To start, I wasted off Present so I had just enough to beat the first 2 Pokemon and struggle the Piloswine, and it worked perfectly. And now we have our 7th gym badge as our 6th badge. Even with all that experience, taking on Jasmine was by far the hardest and most time-consuming battle up to this point. I spent literally 10 plus hours just resetting this battle, hoping for what seemed like a miracle of a battle. First, we needed both of her Magnemites to miss their Thunder Waves so we can take them out. And then, we needed nearly fully HP to take on Steelix. Then, we could at least take one of his Rock Slides before Shady would be taken out. So we also needed Steelix to use Screech or miss Rock Slide to have any chance to take the Steelix out. Even then, if it reaches 30 to 20% of its HP, Jasmine will try to heal it. She won't heal it every time, but most of the time she will heal it. So we need to either get a crit for the last 30 to 20% of its HP, or hope she just doesn't heal the Steelix. And after exactly that, and hours of mindlessly pressing A for struggle, we took out the Steelix, and I couldn't even process the fact that I won. We can now take on Team Rocket at the radio tower and save the director and stop Team Rocket's plans, ending the new coming of Team Rocket, and they will finally disband yet again. Now we head through the ice path to our final major city, Blackthorn City, home of the Dragon Gym. This would be our first time battling a Dragon type Pokemon, and to my surprise, Present isn't even a bad move against them for once, giving me hope for Lance. The gym wasn't much of a threat after finding this out, and it took only a few tries to get a few good Present runs, and we had our 8th gym badge. Well, wait, no? Not yet? Oh yeah, we had to go into Dragon Cave behind the gym to get an item so that we can deem worthy to get the badge. Oh, okay. Now it's time for the Elite Four! We get a call from Professor Nodoke to go and see him, and he gives us a Master Ball, and we find out that not only is the Elite Four just a small surf away from outside of our own house, but also an entire new region. It's a brand new world. After surfing over and making our way through Victory Road, we are challenged by our rival Patrick for the last time. And oh boy, is his team difficult. Not only did I have to use Struggle because of his Haunter, but his entire team do damage to me, so Struggle recoil adds up quick. And I eventually kamikazed his last Pokemon in a really tight battle. And now it's time for the Elite Four. I already know I'm extremely underleveled, being the lowest level of all my previous runs leading up to this, and I'm willing to give it a shot. And boy was I right! I came nowhere near beating Will, the Psychic Leader. His Pokemon resisting Present and Struggle just not being strong enough to take out. I only am left with one option. 1,000 battles later. We return with our level 100 Shady, and it's time! And even after reaching level 100 and using Struggle, it took many upon many's of runs to eventually pull through to beat the first Elite Four member. I made sure to drop a big save and heal outside a battle before taking on Koga. And Koga really got a promotion. I mean, this man moved up from the 5th gym leader to the Elite Four. Not bad. But the promotion or not, we take him out first try, baby! And now it's time for Bruno, the only returning Elite Four member other than the champion himself. Due to the recoil of Struggle and all the stray hits that hit Shady, I make it to his last Pokemon but just don't have enough HP to finish the job. But after about 45 to an hour's period of resetting after loss, we finally pull through with the Victory Royale and advance to the last Elite Four member before the champion, Karen, the Dark type Elite Four member. This one took all time longest to complete. In the end, before the battle, I gave Shady a PP up to increase present PP so that I could have 3 presents to use in their first few Pokemon. And I did this because it was very effective against her first few Pokemon, but it wasn't very good option against her next few Pokemon. I also needed to rely on the RNG of present actually hitting because I only had 3, but it did turn out to be the most effective method after all and just barely won me the battle. And now it's time for the final battle of the Elite Four. Lance, the champion. This guy is ruthless. This man hyper beams people in real life with his Game Shark level Dragonite. I'm on to you, man. Time to show him what one Delibird can really do to his team. And oh boy, this fight was a struggle. His main threats are his Aerodactyl, Charizard, and of course his Dragonites that love to use Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave does end up being one of his downfalls though, because it gave me hope of it not landing. Same goes with his Aerodactyl who knew Rock Slide, and we needed Rock Slide to miss twice. Everything else was all luck and determination and playing for hours. And we did it. We became the Pokemon champion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe and leak. That's only half the game. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about the brand new world. Now that we became Pokemon champions, we have another entire region to take over, but I'll make sure to make it quick. So we hop on the SS Anne to Kanto from Olivine Town, and we make it to Vermilion City, and take on a first Kanto gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. And with no puzzle to solve and no reason to grind, we take him on directly, and we sweep his entire team easily with Struggle. Next is Sabrina in Saffron City, who I just gave a few gifts to that explode and knocked out a few of her Pokemon. Pretty simple. Kanto doesn't have much trainers or quests to really do between the gyms, so it's not really going to be that difficult. Except we do, however, have to restore a missing piece of the power plant to battle Misty, who is a total pushover who we happen to take out in a few tries. I then go back to Celadon City after wasting all my presents and struggle my way through Erica pretty easily. Her strongest moves are resisted by Delibird really well. And then we go to Lavender Town to get an item that allows us to listen to the radio. And can you believe it? They have a station on the radio that plays Pokeflute 24/7, no commercials. Wow. We then head back to Vermilion City and wake up Snorlax, and I just run from it because we don't really have to battle it, clearing the path to Brock. Brock gave me by far the most trouble in Fire Red Abra playthrough, so I'm looking forward to the revenge. I was getting major PTSD flashbacks of our older battles, even more so that I was using only Struggle, and we were only using a Pokemon with one move, just like Abra. After a god amount of luck and resets, we eventually took out Brock and we can finally move on. Surprisingly enough, I did this whole challenge without a bike as well, so I guess this is the no bike challenge. Is that the title of the video? No? Okay, I know it's not, but it did stop me from going to Koga's gym as easily, so I went to Cinnabar Island instead to battle Blaine, until I found out his entire city got Chernobyled and the entire city is turned to stone, except they did build a Pokemon Center. Blue is here, however, and he tells us that he is is now the 8th gym leader, and we should come challenge him when we are ready. We go to Seafoam Cave first, where Blaine has made a new gym inside, and he only has 2 Pokemon, and no Arcanine thankfully, so we are able to use Struggle and take him out after a few failed attempts. Now it's time to take on Blue back in Vermilion City, and this is by far the hardest battle in the game, up to this point. He has a perfect type spreading, making it nearly impossible to use Present, and his Pokemon are high enough level where Struggle doesn't really do enough damage to it and takes a few hits to take his Pokemon out. On top of that, he's already dealing damage to us with every Struggle that we hit him with. If it wasn't for his Rhydon, this battle wouldn't have been so difficult, but it barely takes any damage unless I get a really high roll hit or I crit it. And if it hits me with just one of its attacks back, its Rock Slide will take me out no matter how much HP I have. It's fair to say I was retrying this battle longer than it took me to take on all of the Kanto gym leaders combined. I'll have a good run. Arcanine will get a crit and take me out. I'll have a decent run. Rhydon will land a Rock Slide. There was no way to catch a break in this battle, but there were chances of his moves missing and also crits taking out his Pokemon in a few hits. And finally, some way, somehow, we took him out. And honestly, my brain was so far past turned off after resetting and mashing A, it didn't even fully set in until I saw my in-game sprite again outside of battle, until I realized I did it. And now for the last and final gym battle, Koga. And yeah, I don't really know why I left it till last. It wasn't even that difficult to get to. I go through Lavender Town the long way and battle a lot of trainers, but I eventually make it to Koga. Oh no, that's not Koga. That's Koga's daughter. I forgot he's in Delibird 4. And we take her out pretty simply with Struggle. It's time for the true final battle that everybody is waiting for. And I go to Professor Oak to tell him I have all the gym badges granting us access to Mount Silver. And we make it to this part of the cave where it looks like we're standing? Wait a second, that's not us. We're over here. Who's over there? Who is in this imposter? Ash? Are you the Alola champion? No, it's Red, the player character from Pokemon Red and Blue beforehand. And wait, no way. If that's true, then he should have a level 100 Abra. The Red I know became Pokemon champion with one What is that? A Pikachu? Oh well, at least it's not level 100. Present barely damages Charizard, who one-hits us no matter what. I try everything in my power to win this fight within the rules that I've set, and it just can't be done. I can't even come close. It looks like I can't beat Red with only a single Delibird with Present. What kind of fraud am I? I look like a clown. How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes. That's right, guys. The only way I was able to eventually beat Red was to use 3 X attacks while Pikachu missed terrible accuracy thunders and charms. And then I would proceed to sweep his entire team, but I did have to use items to beat Red, and I am so sorry, guys. It was the only way. If this was any other Pokemon and Present wasn't misprogrammed, I do think this would have been possible. But I only take the hardest challenges here, so I guess I can't beat Pokemon Gold with a single Delibird. That only knows Present. Unless you actually can, technically, because Red is a secret final boss. Beating the game only entitles you beat the Elite Four and all the Kanto gym leaders. But you guys aren't going to accept that as the answer, so I failed you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, you're truly a legend. You could probably beat this game with one Delibird. This video was inspired by the likes of Mah-Dry-Bread, and you guys won't let me ignore the fact that he was inspired by Pika Spray, so this has to be the world's first inspiration of an inspiration inside an inspiration. The world's first double hat. But as always, guys, my name's Ryan, aka R9Beats, and make sure you have yourselves a damn good one.